No one was innocent. Everyone has hooked up with, like, everyone.
Let's be honest.
Have we all ever really been genuine, real friends, or has there always been an agenda? Has there always been some sort of transaction needed?
Have you watched Secret Lives of Mormon?
No.
We're trying to
show women.
empower women.
But you guys all just shit on each other.
Demi's like, yeah, Jesse at this point, like, let's push her to the side.
This is trashy. Well, I mean, the whole swinging thing was trashy.
Sure, we got that down. What else? Like, shut up.
My whole world is falling apart right now.
And Whitney and Demi are not to be trusted.
I'm gonna start my own mom talk.
I'm sorry.
Awesome! Whether you're here to dumpster dive into a new reality show or just need a refresher before you watch the new season. Hi! This video goes over both Season 1 and Season 2 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, or according to how I misspell it in Google, Secret Lives of Moron Wives. I always forget that second M. We are going to jump right into Season 1. And just a warning, if you are new to this show, there is a lot of information that is about to get thrown at you. A lot of names and faces, and it might all blur together at first, but I promise as the season goes on and we get into Season 2, it gets easier to keep track of who is who. Also, for my friends who are listening and not looking at the screen, I will do my best to say names of people when describing scenes. Ready? So let's just dive right in.
I don't feel like we should judge people whether they're going to church every Sunday, wearing their special underwear, reading their special book.
We are a new generation of Mormon women. We have a platform that the generation didn't have before us.
The first season of The Secret Life of Mormon Wives premiered in September of 2024. The focus was 8 Mormon moms in a TikTok group called Mom Talk. From the left to the right in Season 1, we had Jessie, Layla, Demi, Taylor, Whitney, Macy, Michaela, and Jen. And that's a lot of names of a lot of women to keep track of that all look sort of similar. And if you're like, well, what is Mom Talk exactly? That was my first question watching this. Taylor Frankie Paul created a group that posts TikToks together, and these TikToks had the hashtag Mom Talk. It is not actually a shared TikTok account. I thought it was. The focus was creating a platform of Mormon women to post together. Women supporting women, empowering each other. Think of it like a business, a club to widen their connections and followers.
Powerful women trying to change the stigma of gender roles in the Mormon culture.
But the focus of Mom Talk shifted drastically when the creator, Taylor Frankie Paul, exposed a soft swinging scandal on a TikTok live.
No one was innocent. Everyone has hooked up with, like, everyone.
All of a sudden my phone starts blowing up.
In the live, she talked about the swinging agreements, how she was involved in them, and also announced her divorce.
Soft swinging, again, is when you, like, just hook up but you don't go all the way.
On the show, they leave the suspicion of who was involved in the swinging open. But if you actually watch the whole live that Taylor posted, you know that she explains that a majority of Mom Talk was not involved in the scandal.
Majority of Mom Talk is not involved, just to clear that up.
You find out in Season 2 that the other people involved are not a part of this group of 8, besides Taylor. And we will circle back to who was involved in the scandal more when we talk about Season 2. Mormons live by a religious set of rules.
No swearing, 1 piercing, no caffeine, no alcohol, no tattoos, your body's a temple.
We're not supposed to have sex before marriage.
It's honestly very confusing what things are allowed and not allowed, and a lot of it doesn't really make sense. Like, don't get tattoos, your body's a temple. But then you see the women of Mom Talk getting Botox and high off of the laughing gas.
I feel like I'm gonna fall asleep.
They say things like, coffee and tea aren't allowed. But then on this show, I have never seen people drink more soda ever in my entire life.
Look at that ice.
After the swinging scandal broke the internet, Mom Talk has an identity crisis.
Like, is it just a bunch of swingers, or are we just a bunch of Mormon women fighting the patriarchy?
And cracks in the group begin to form. When we catch up with the women post-scandal, Whitney moves back to Utah from Hawaii and butts heads with Taylor. It turns out that Whitney moving was also because she was dealing with her own scandal involving her husband.
There was a rumor that Connor was on Tinder.
So they were sending nude photos?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been pregnant for like, I would say 4 weeks.
Shut up.
Oh wait, I'm pretty sure I miscarried.
The actual Taylor. What the hell are you doing?
But the tension between her and Taylor intensifies even more after Taylor's arrest. On February 17th of 2023, Herman police respond to a domestic violence call and determined that probable cause existed for the arrest of Taylor for misdemeanor charges of assault, criminal mischief, and commission of domestic violence in the presence of a child. The body cam footage shows Taylor drunk getting arrested, and her boyfriend Dakota is not arrested. There also ends up being an investigation for felony assault charges against Taylor. During the incident, one of Taylor's children was injured, so investigators were screening a misdemeanor charge of reckless child abuse as well. I will just read what this report says. Taylor had allegedly thrown 2 metal chairs at her boyfriend, Dakota, and a 3rd metal chair that first hit Dakota, then hit one of Taylor's children. That's the information that I found about it. After this, filming pauses for 11 months. Taylor ends up pleading guilty to the aggravated assault count, and all the other charges are dismissed.
I ended up being charged with aggravated assault with 3 years of probation.
When filming resumes, we see that Taylor is still with her boyfriend, Dakota, and she is also pregnant with his baby. When we catch up with the other women of Mom Talk, Whitney feels that Taylor's arrest has put Mom Talk in a bad light, and she decides that she does not want to continue a friendship with Taylor.
She was having an affair. She got arrested. I'm done with that.
Even skipping her baby shower. You also learn later that Whitney harbors some jealousy towards Taylor, and not for a reason you would expect. She thinks that Taylor gets a pass on her arrest when Whitney herself has experienced a lot of backlash for something that she has done.
During that time of her whole swinger drama that I feel like I didn't get.
Wait, forgiveness for what?
Just like the RSV video.
Yes, Whitney, if you did not recognize her, is the one who posted this very well-known video in the hospital with her sick baby. What's ironic about this video is I realized this is actually the first Mom Talk member video I think I'd ever seen. I never really saw Taylor's videos with the first 2 girls that she may or may not have been swinging with, but I did see this one. So yes, Whitney is the RSV TikTok mom. Yeah. And she says that she still gets hate from that video. Whitney versus Taylor creates a divide in the group.
She's not coming. Wait, what? Because you guys don't have a friendship.
And this is when the sinners and the saints are born. I did not name them that, just so you know. They started calling each other this. The saints, who follow more of the Mormon rules, include Jen, Whitney, Macy, and Michaela. Which, side note, I saw a TikTok where Michaela says that she's not even actually Mormon. So maybe the saints term is also just for people that behave at events. That's confusing. And the sinners include Jesse, Demi, Taylor, and Layla. I also realized rewatching this season that I confused Jesse and Demi a lot. I'm realizing that I actually thought they were one person at one point. The divide in the group becomes the most obvious when Jen, labeled a saint, invites Mom Talk over to her husband Zach's parents' house. They come together to celebrate Zach's graduation from BYU. And Jessie, the hairstylist in the group, this is not Demi, she owns her own hair studio called Jay-Z Styles, and she does all of the girls' hair. Jessie and her husband bring a flask of alcohol to the graduation party. No. And they drink it in the hot tub. And Jen is very insulted by this.
It was very insensitive for her to bring alcohol.
She ends up actually uninviting Jessie and me from her son's baby blessing afterwards.
I did feel like a little uncomfortable about everything that happened.
Jen blames her husband Zach for the uninviting, but this is when the group starts to say that they think that Zach is controlling, especially Jessie. And she has many conversations with Jen about that. Mormon women are supposed to have the man lead the family. But Jen, who is the breadwinner from being in Mom Talk, struggles with the dynamic when she pays for everything.
This is super hard for him, coming from a traditional family.
She also supports Zach through medical school, and she takes care of their kids. But even doing all of that, she seems to get zero respect from her husband. The very first TikTok that I actually saw of Jen was actually one of many of her dancing on her kitchen island. Because Zach's behavior on season 1 is awful, we will be circling back to his awfulness later. At this point, you just need to know that he sucks. Got it? Cool. So we continue to see the divide between the sinners and the saints widen after a fruity cereal incident. You heard me correctly. a fruity cereal incident. This is where we start to see more of Demi. And the first real information we get about her is that she is married to Brett, a man 16 years her senior. And if you actually Google Brett and Demi, you find out that Brett met Demi when he was 25 and she was 9. Yeah. Ew. So back to the fruity cereal incident. I have to be very careful with how I word this, but Demi and Brett apparently had a very intimate conversation that Demi shared with Whitney. And Whitney tells Macy and Michaela about it, and they think it's hilarious. And they giggle about it like teens at a sleepover. Whitney drops some hints of what the fruity cereal references.
The fruity cereal has to do with taste.
The sex conversations on the show are so uncomfortable because a lot of it is supposedly taboo to talk about, but I find that kind of ironic because I can't tell you how many times they talk about how Layla has never had an orgasm. Layla gets divorced in season 1 and she tells the group that she has never had that. That becomes the group's goal, to get that girl an O. But their reactions, you'll notice, to a lot of these things, especially sex, is so immature.
Really good money, okay.
What is it? 100 toys per day.
I can't show this toy, so I'll just cover it with this swig cup. Having a brand deal associated with a toy was very, very controversial. Whitney wanted to do it, but was really nervous to tell her family. But they keep saying, this is what Mom Talk is all about. Using their platform to set a new standard. That toy brand deal paid them a lot of money, but they're setting a new standard. It's odd too though, because they talk about women supporting women. Well, most all of them just talk behind each other's backs the whole time. It's adult women, but it feels very high school. Like when Whitney, as a joke, brings some fruity cereal to a party Demi is hosting. Like she packs it up in a box and gives it to her as a gift.
Fruity Pebbles, freaking Whitney.
And then Whitney gets mad when Demi doesn't think that the fruity cereal prank is funny. Whitney gets mad. Demi thinks that it crossed a line, and Whitney is definitely the villain of season 1. She's very easy to dislike on this season when you're watching her, which is interesting because if you watch her TikToks, everyone loves TikTok Whitney. They don't like Mormon Wives show Whitney, but they love TikTok Whitney. It ends up being that the saints go to the baby blessing while the sinners all go out bowling. But the taking sides in the group becomes the most obvious between the sinners and the saints during a Mom Talk girls trip. This is where we witness the very first truth box on the show. Truth box! And if you're like, what is a truth box? Basically, everyone writes down something anonymously, and then each person goes around and reads the anonymous truth. It's like when you take an anonymous survey at work, but then someone reads them all out loud. This is Demi's idea, thinking that this will somehow clear the air with tension between the sinners and the saints. But it, of course, does the complete opposite. And ironically, the truth box revelations end up causing the most drama for Demi.
Calling Taylor white trash.
Well, I mean, the whole swinging thing was trashy.
Sure, we got that down. What else?
No, a lot of what we have seen, like your TikToks and like the
What TikTok?
And it was her idea. Truth box! She ends up going after Whitney.
You're a bitch.
Whose villain era consists of her offending everyone in Mom Talk, or stirring up drama between people in Mom Talk, and then having no remorse. The saints in the group still try to support Whitney, especially when she's crying in the closet.
Freaking Minion Fest over here. Minion Fest. Chihuahua Fest.
But ultimately, this leads to Whitney leaving the Mom Talk group chat. This is when we start to see Demi talk about how Mom Talk needs a new leader, and she means herself. Whitney still comes to some Mom Talk related events, but does not come to the infamous Vegas trip. A very pregnant Taylor does come to the Vegas trip, but is distracted by trying to navigate Dakota putting on all of this pressure of marriage. So I guess this is your moment, Demi. Shoot your shot of being the new leader of Mom Talk.
You're the new leader of our cult.
Oh, hey, also, remember earlier when I said that Jen's husband, Zach, sucks? Well, we all get a front row seat to more of that when Jen goes to Vegas too. Zach does not want her to do anything related to Chippendales. Not a big surprise.
I think it's more of like a funny thing if we do end up going.
Being divorced and taking care of 2 kids would be kind of tough, so I guess you make the decision.
Just the way he says it though, ick. The disrespect he shows on camera to Jen is wild. Zach and Taylor's boyfriend Dakota also decide to tag along on the trip, with no ulterior motives whatsoever. Taylor and Dakota are constantly fighting, like every time we see them on screen. But now Taylor is really close to her due date. So Dakota says he's coming to Vegas to be close to Taylor in case something happens. And Zach is coming to keep an eye on Jen and also to gamble, which I find very ironic because the church, at least when I research it, and by researching it I mean Googling it, is opposed to gambling. But apparently Zach can do what he wants, while Jen can't even be in the same airspace as Chip and Dale's dancers. And while he is making Jen miserable,
Zach can be a bit controlling.
There is a rumor that Zach blew all of his medical school money gambling.
Jen told me that his family gave him a chunk of money to help them through medical school and kind of ease the burden, and he blew right through it.
But God forbid that Jen breathe the same air as a Chip and Dale's dancer. She didn't even actually go to the show, but boy, does she get in trouble.
Babe, it's a joke. Said he's just done with everything.
Instead, she ends up talking to Zach all night, and he says some pretty mean stuff.
He's saying, I'm not going to be married to someone who doesn't have values and morals.
She even ends up disappearing from the Airbnb to go talk to him, and then just randomly shows back up, like, poof, everything is fine, when it's definitely not fine, not at all. Taylor, who is again just weeks away from her due date, is also told on this trip about the anonymous message received by Macy, saying that someone accidentally tripped and fell and hooked up with her boyfriend Dakota. It doesn't say tripped and fell, but that's what I picture when someone says this. Macy has a Sinner Sunday confessional where people can submit anonymous messages to her.
I have an idea that it could be Jenna. She is a girl that Dakota dated before Taylor and him were together, but he was also seeing Jenna and Taylor at the same time.
And after Taylor learns about this on the Vegas trip, she confronts Dakota when they get back. But she doesn't really get any answers from him. Jen doesn't make any progress either with Zach. He continues to suck.
Mom talk, that is important to me, and I do feel like I've established that here.
I don't really care.
As we get towards the end of season 1, we also get to the party that more or less ends the Saints. The Saints being Whitney, Macy, Michaela, and Jen. Macy has a launch party for her prenatal brand called Baby Mama. And the person that left the group chat, Whitney, is nowhere to be seen at it, which is pretty insulting to Macy. She was the last person that was supporting Whitney, and supposedly Macy and Whitney are best friends. Yet, no Whitney, she does not show up for her supposed best friend's very big day, and thus pretty much dissolves the Saints group. It makes all of Mom Talk decide that Whitney is out of Mom Talk.
We are officially in our post-Whitney era, and I couldn't be happier about it.
She oddly enough, though, later shows up to Michaela's birthday party of all places. Everyone is shocked, especially Macy. This is at a roller rink. It's a birthday party, not a huge launch party for a business Macy's very proud of. So, of course, Macy is pissed.
I honestly don't know if she feels bad.
So we end season 1 with Mom Talk, technically minus Whitney.
Good luck without me.
Jen moving to New York for Zach's medical school, seeming to decide to leave Mom Talk behind. And Taylor and Dakota welcome their baby boy. A big battle that they faced was Dakota wanted Taylor to commit to him.
Yeah, well, just tell your daughter she needs to either commit to me or just end this, because I can't keep doing this.
And although her parents pressured her to, she did not move forward with any sort of engagement to Dakota. But they decided to just push their issues aside to try to raise their baby boy together. Still though, there's this looming mystery that Macy tries to solve at the end of season 1. Macy calls Jenna and wants answers about the anonymous message. The girls think that she left an anonymous message about accidentally hooking up with Dakota while he was with Taylor. And we conclude season 1 with Jenna saying that she will tell Macy everything.
I'll tell you everything.
Woo! That's season 1. This is a good time for a prebiotic soda to celebrate getting through season 1. Oh, okay. I realized I don't have one, so I'm gonna pretend to enjoy this LaCroix instead. Some AMSR for you. That was a lot of information. If you made it this far, cheers. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you have not already. With season 1, it feels like you're actually watching this group of women just trying to be friends. They are always asking, will Mom Talk survive? But with any kind of drama they face, yes, it will survive because this is a business. These women make their money this way, their livelihood. Mom Talk will always survive unless they become irrelevant. Honestly, when I started the season, I expected to just instantly hate these women on the show because, I mean, they treat each other horribly. But if I take anything away from season 1, is that you learn how these Mormon women have all of these expectations they have to live by. They're supposed to marry young, have kids young, respect their men while not getting much respect back. They also have to follow these rules, all while they are just trying to learn to be adults in a cycle of babies having babies. A great example of that is you see Taylor's family put pressure on her to commit to Dakota, get married, but they know how toxic Dakota and Taylor are because that's what they know to do, especially when she has her baby out of wedlock. They are a product of their environment, and these women are just trying to navigate life like everyone else. Definitely doesn't make me like them, but it helps me tolerate them. Season 2 was an entirely different topic that we're about to dive into. I go from just feeling like I'm watching high schoolers fight, that are also somehow my age, to watching the mean girl energy escalate dramatically. Instead of someone saying, oh, this person didn't come to my party, it turns into things like best friends backstabbing each other for more money. Way more intense. There's also a mental health crisis that we will see. Much more serious stuff happening on season 2. Also, just to note, we don't see a lot of Michaela and Layla in season 1, so I did not talk about them a whole lot, but we do see them more in season 2. So you might want to go grab a snack real quick because we're diving right into season 2 now. And yeah, it's a lot more intense. So immediately you will notice we get a new intro. The women of Mom Talk emerging out of a steaming lake. We go from the cult hand-holding to like swamp creatures? Was that what they were going for? The white dresses give this more of a horror vibe. When season 2 begins, we have Mom Talk at an influencer event. Yeehaw. And then Whitney shows up, and she's pregnant. So in season 1, she found out that she is pregnant and decided to tell her family she was expecting. And she did this by hiding a pregnancy test in the cake. And yes, it's the pregnancy test she peed on. That's in the cake. But although she was the villain of season 1 and is technically on the outs of Mom Talk, the attention turns away from her and onto a new person that we hadn't seen before, Miranda. At the beginning of this video, Taylor explained that the majority of Mom Talk was not involved in the swinging scandal. And I said that in season 2, the other people that were allegedly involved are explained. The swingers, besides Taylor, were not any of these women in this group of 8. The other person that was confirmed to be involved was Miranda and her husband, Chase.
Miranda is Taylor's ex-best friend, and she's one of the original Mom Talkers from when Taylor started the group. Miranda and her ex-husband, Chase, were the couple heavily involved in the swinging with Taylor and her ex-husband.
They did initially deny everything when the scandal came out, and Miranda left the Mom Talk group. But now, here she was, divorced and back. Also in this video, if you're listening and not watching, Michaela and Miranda, those names can get confusing. She does not at first have the same story though about the swinging scandal as Taylor does. There's also another woman in Mom Talk when Miranda was, but they don't talk about her at all. But you have seen her in early Mom Talk TikToks if you've watched those. Her name is Camille. She and her husband have completely disconnected from Taylor after the scandal and claim that they were not involved at all. So this is what you think the focus of the season will be. And at the beginning of season 2, Miranda and Taylor's stories don't match up at all.
We've all heard the exact opposite. I'm so confused.
And Mom Talk takes Taylor's side. Miranda's ex-husband is Chase. This is the guy that confessed his love for Taylor when they were a part of the stop swinging scandal, and Taylor rejected him. Miranda doesn't really own up to anything that happened until she has Mom Talk over at her house, and they talk about why she's just now coming around.
I am ready to own up to things.
Obviously, Mom Talk is successful, so they all know that she wants in. Whitney is also still on the outs too. So this is where we learn that Miranda thought Taylor was leading her husband on. Taylor did something dumb and told him about a sex dream she had about him.
I really didn't think a dream was a big deal, considering we're making out with each other and touching each other on the weekends.
Miranda was afraid to say anything because of the church, but she does stop denying what Taylor was claiming.
We were making out and we were on top of each other and they all filmed it on their phones.
Taylor's not wrong.
Taylor is now also dealing with her confronting Dakota about the anonymous message about a girl hooking up with him by accident when he was also sleeping with her. Did you get all that? That was a long sentence. And we finally meet the woman behind the messages, Jenna. Taylor and Jenna exchange phones, and Taylor realizes that Dakota had deleted a lot of messages between him and Jenna.
And he's saying, thank you for letting me crash at your house. And he came over that night to my house and spent the night and f***ed me. So yeah.
Oh, shit.
He had claimed that Jenna was the one interested in him, but from the looks of the messages, it turned out that he was lying. The texts prove that he was trying to hang out with Jenna the same nights he was going back and sleeping with Taylor. And this confirmed all of Taylor's fears. And starts even more fighting between Taylor and Dakota. Yay. Watching them fight all the time on both seasons is exhausting. Also, you probably noticed that Jen was at this influencer event in this clip. That's not New York. At the end of season 1, it looked like her and Zach were in New York, but she came back because she has a big update on her relationship with Zach.
We are separated.
Zach was back in Utah sporting a new haircut, trying to prove to Jen and the world that he does not, in fact, suck.
So many regrets about how I had acted and the way things had gone down.
The lack of disrespect he showed Jen on camera on season 1 was wild.
I don't really care.
And he got a lot of hate for it. So it was hard to tell if this new good guy act was more about changing for Jen or just an act for the camera. They ultimately ended up having Zach pause medical school, air quotes around pause medical school, to come back and try to work on their marriage. At least that's the story they're trying to sell us on the show. There is this gambling story that pops up where Jen had apparently confided in a few moms in Mom Talk about how Zach had gambled away his medical school money that his parents gave him. But of course, Zach denies it.
Jen told me that his family gave him a chunk of money to help them through medical school and kind of ease the burden, and he blew right through it.
I would say his hair is full of secrets, but he cut it off. So Zach decides that he's going to go and confront Jesse and Demi. He does this without Jen, and he talks to them about the whole Chippendale situation. Zach pretty much says that he's glad it all happened because now they're able to address some issues in their marriage. He's doing a complete 180 from how he acted in Vegas. But Demi and Jesse are now confused. They basically say that Jen mentioned a lot of problematic things to them about Zach, things that she confided in them about. But when they talk to Zach, what he says isn't matching up. They start to think that Jen is playing both sides.
It sounds like she is spinning things in her favor, like she's playing both sides.
So instead of believing their friend who has confided in them, trusted them, they instantly believe Zach and then start to turn on Jen, which is so bizarre because you start to get this impression that it's Jen who's becoming the villain of season 2. You notice that Whitney just kind of fades into the background and is no longer the villain. Jen's people-pleasing personality gets her in trouble enough to upset enough people to become the new villain. And instead of Mom Talk empowering her, supporting her, it becomes a Mom Talk takedown.
As a friend that I trusted, I didn't expect that you were going to then exploit this information.
And I don't think she was ready for the takedown. This is when they start to talk about different lies they claim that Jen has told, like the gambling away medical school money, which I don't think is a lie.
No, he didn't gamble money that his parents sent us.
I don't even know what to believe right now.
And Jen thinking that Zach's family was related to Ben Affleck, which I also don't think was on purpose. Someone might have made a joke about it on his side of the family, and she just believed that.
Not as a joke.
No one's ever claimed to have some relationship with him besides you.
And it's really not even that big of a deal. She ends up actually making a commercial with Ben Affleck for Dunkin' Donuts, so it all works out. Around this time is when we start to hear about how some of the Mom Talk girls took a trip to Vanderpump Villa in Italy. And if you're like me, you might have heard the name Vanderpump Villa and said, "What is that?" The word Vanderpump comes from Lisa Vanderpump, who is from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And she hosts a reality show at a place, this time it was a castle, where the reality cast are her employees. They try to get to the end to be the best employee and win money. And while this is going on, she invites guests for them to host. And some of those guests were Mom Talk. Demi mentions that there was a guy there, Marciano, saying that he was very flirty with her.
Felt like I handled it the best that I could. truly did nothing wrong.
Jesse was also on that trip, as well as a few others. This will be important later. And it's pretty crazy because I feel like there's a lot of things at the beginning of the show that are completely ignored, and the focus first is Jen becoming the villain, while they also completely overlook Jesse. Jesse actively tries to stir up drama at the beginning of season 2 with her Halloween party. And yet we don't see her getting a villain label at all, even though this party and its guest list are completely ridiculous. Jesse invites Chase, who is Miranda's ex-husband, to the party.
Chase is dating one of Jesse's friends, Kate.
And according to Taylor, he comes in mad to the party because he confessed his feelings for Taylor and she rejected him. Jesse says that Chase was now dating her friend Kate and that's why she invited him, but then also admits that she is inviting him with an actual agenda.
How else are we going to get to the bottom of Miranda's involvement in the swinging scandal?
Like, this entire party is just a setup for things to get explosive. Before the party even happens, you can just sense it. So Layla brings her new boyfriend post-divorce. And the rest of Mom Talk arrives dressed up like the characters from Mean Girls, which, like, that's the perfect group costume for these ladies. Michaela's husband is the burn book. He always looks like he just hates his life. And Dakota is the bus, you know, the one that runs over Regina George. Just top tier group costume choice. And like everyone saw coming, once Chase walks through the door to this party, you know exactly what's about to happen. He doesn't even hesitate to approach Dakota, trying to explain that he never slept with Taylor. And he really takes this opportunity of 5 minutes of camera time to explain everything he can.
Yeah, so for us, it was like, oh, deny, deny, deny. Yeah, and if I could go back, dude, I'd change that 10 out of 10 times.
When Taylor approaches, he says that she exposed the worst moment of his life. But that makes Taylor get heated because he's saying all these things, but won't say that he confessed that he loved her in front of Dakota.
Your boyfriend's a liar. It's sick.
He only mentions that Taylor said that she had a sex dream about him. And then the whole thing just explodes.
I don't know what's going on.
Because Dakota doesn't back up Taylor and tell Chase to just F off.
Go talk shit on your podcast, Chase.
Don't make fun of my podcast.
I mean, the bus, I guess, only runs over Regina George. Watch out, Macy. Dakota and Taylor are still off and on and off and on, and they're not in a good place again after she found out about the whole Jenna thing anyway.
I wasn't lying to you about someone else.
Telling me that he came over and had sex with you? What does that say about you?
Now she says they're completely done. I really had a hard time taking these scenes seriously, especially with Miranda and her meaty crab hands. I'm just waiting for a seagull to fly down and scoop her up.
Mine.
And Miranda is over here comforting her ex Chase's girlfriend because this chick's mad that she came to this party, period. Finally, they get Chase to leave. But on his way out, he makes the mistake of crossing paths with Demi. So he like pokes her, I would say. At least that's what it looks like on camera.
Where's your husband?
Don't touch me again.
Is that a hard poke? No. A condescending one? Yeah. But Demi like runs to Brett saying that Chase touched her, which sounds bad. So Brett runs outside shirtless and confronts Chase in the front yard.
Are you serious?
I'm being dead serious right now. I'm sorry for disrespecting you.
Chase eventually apologizes and leaves, and then the cops show up. Brett being outside shirtless and people yelling sure warranted that. I'm guessing that this is supposed to be a really nice McMansion neighborhood, but it was time to take the class level down a few pegs with a moron wives party. I mean, Mormon.
Have you watched Secret Life of Mormon? No.
So why was Brett shirtless, you ask? Well, Demi and Jesse decided that it would be fun to have their partners and a male stripper dress up as Chippendales dancers and do a dance for the party. If you don't remember, in season 1, this caused a huge issue between Jen and Zach. Zach was so mad at Jen, and she didn't actually even go to the show. She was just in the same room as the dancers, breathing the same air as them. But they thought now would be a good time for Zach to redeem himself by how he reacts to these guys dancing and this male stripper. And all I could think about when this happened was, aren't these people supposed to be friends? Last time, Jen said that Zach completely spiraled, sending her text saying that he wanted a divorce, that he didn't love her anymore. But yeah, let's just make a joke of that in front of everyone at this Halloween party. Especially after we just saw Demi lose her mind when Chase mildly poked her.
Don't touch me again.
No, let's bring out the guys and have these guys dance on Jen. Like, what? And if they were gonna act like that wasn't the intent to not have them go dance on Jen, that's the first thing they do when they start this dance. Go straight to Jen. And she makes a face like, no, no, no. But they come over anyway and dance on her. With Demi dressed like fruity cereal, I would love to say that this was her attempt at like making fun of all the jokes from season 1. But when the guys started to dance on her and she was like, no, like what was the point of this then? It didn't feel like a redemption moment. It just felt more like they were poking fun at Jen and Zach. And Demi thought, what? They should just take it when she doesn't even like to be gently poked? And of course, this does cause issues again with Jen and Zach. And it's just so weird because at one point, weren't Demi and Jesse worried about how Zach was treating Jen? They seem to be fighting now though, because Zach says that Jen's friends are crap. And I can't disagree.
If my friends were doing these kind of things to us, I would confront them or I would drop them.
It just feels like a Jen takedown. Take down. Jen clarifies that they did tell her about the Chippendales dance, but then says that she didn't know that they would dance on her. She didn't know the extent, basically. And this becomes the big focus of the show. Jen versus Jesse and Demi because they think that Jen is lying. The show has a chance to focus more on what Mormon wives' lives are really like. For example, Michaela, who starts to find her voice. She expresses that she does not like Whitney with her victim mentality. And they don't really go deep into explaining on the show what specifically started this shift in her feelings. Whitney did leave the Mom Talk group chat, and that seemed to spark a lot of feelings in the group. On season 1, we learned that Michaela was 16 when she got pregnant and married to her now husband. She's also been battling health issues. And on season 2, we learned that her medical issues were linked to her not dealing with past trauma in her life. Michaela was sexually in going to therapy to try to find her voice.
Really freeing about finally speaking my truth and expressing these emotions that I've held in for so long.
I felt like these scenes were a good break from the drama and showed more of the real side of these women of Mom Talk. It felt like it was putting more focus on how Mom Talk can give Mormon women more of a voice, maybe make changes in their community. There's also a scene with Macy and Taylor visiting Whitney after she just had a baby. That gives that feeling too, a glimpse into their real lives and women actually supporting each other in this group. But all we get is these brief little glimpses of this, because then we very quickly just switch back into the drama. And that's when we find out that Jen and Zach are also dealing with a very big unexpected surprise. Jen is pregnant. And you definitely get the feeling that it was unplanned. But in the Mormon community, there's not a lot of preventing going on when it comes to pregnancy. And this is when we see her mental health hit rock bottom. Zach tries to confront the guys about the whole Chippendales dance incident. And his point is that Brett said that he was mad that Chase touched Demi in a condescending way. And that they did the same exact thing to Jen.
What you guys did was touch my wife without consent in a condescending way.
And I actually don't disagree with that. But then the blame shifts back on Jen because they say that she knew about it. I feel like Zach says a lot of things that make sense on this season, but it always seems to swing back around to Jen getting the blame for all of these things, which I think is odd.
The more I hear about Jen recently, the less I'm starting to believe anything that she says.
We know that she was told about the Chippendales thing, but her reaction showed that she didn't know the extent, and it also looked like she tried to say no. Yet, Jesse and Demi double down, saying that Jen needs to take accountability for her lies.
They're putting Chippendales on me and Demi. I think her feet need to be held to the fire and she needs to own up to what she's lied about.
And you start to notice more of Demi's personality coming out. I start to finally see Jesse and Demi as two different people here. Demi doesn't just admit that she hurt someone's feelings and apologize, which I feel like would have stopped a lot of these issues. Instead, we start to see more of her mean girl energy. The scene of when Macy announces her book deal is a good example of that. Everyone seems happy for Macy except Demi.
Demi seems a little maybe jealous, but she's trying to hide it.
And if you're like, why is Macy writing a book? She actually has this really crazy story that they don't mention until later. They act like, oh, she has this book deal. And the first thing I thought of was, what the heck did she write a book about? But basically, she was studying at the Brigham Young University in Utah. She was on a tennis scholarship when she found out that she was pregnant in February of 2015. Her boyfriend was Eric Mack, and they were both just 19 years old. Being unmarried, pregnant, caused a lot of stress. She ended up actually going back to California to live with her parents. And this is the craziest part of the story. So now she was away from her partner, and on March 24th of 2015, Eric and her had a fight. They started to argue over text, and she didn't know while they were arguing that Eric was driving while texting. Frustrated, she stopped replying to his messages, and then later that day found out through Instagram that Eric had died, and she was a single parent at 20 years old. She went back to university, and then in 2016, when her baby was 7 months old, she met someone named Jacob. She ended up marrying Jacob and having more kids with him. She didn't just write a book about like something dumb. So context is key of knowing why Macy was writing a book. I remember during the first season of Mormon Wives, I didn't have much of an opinion of Demi at all. I remember her during the first Truth Box, and that was kind of it, and she blended in with the other characters. And now here's another Truth Box, because these just go so well. I guess this is production's way of saying that they need to shake things up. So reminder, the group does not know that Jen is pregnant yet, or that she's struggling mentally. Although us as an audience, we know.
I think Jen is fake.
Jen did not do anything to this group that hurt anyone. So this just really feels mean for no reason.
I'm here to be a part of Mom Talk and to be empowered and gain support, but there's none of that.
But also, Jen just takes it like over and over again, which is getting exhausting. The Truth Box is really more like a burn book, you know, just like a way to insult someone without having to take any accountability for it. Layla. Yikes. Layla seems to just shift to whatever side is the most convenient. I don't remember Jen doing anything to her. So Mom Talk is supposed to be about what again? Empowering women, supporting each other, building each other up. Okay. We have drama going on between Whitney and Michaela too that they just can't seem to resolve. Macy tries to host like a mediation between them at one point and it does nothing.
You're so delusional and you think that everyone's always coming for you.
Michaela's TikToks are about Whitney. That's pretty obvious. And again, there's just people constantly doing things behind people's backs. Instead of saying, will Mom Talk survive this? We should be asking, can Mom Talk be better? Like, geez.
We're trying to show women.
Empower women.
But you guys all just on each other.
And this is when Jen decides to finally push back. And I would love to say that the claws come out, but instead of poking the bear, it's more like pissing off a kitten.
Like, watch out, okay? Catch me outside, how about that?
So Jen says what I think a lot of us have been wondering.
When have I intentionally ever tried to hurt you?
She confided in these women when her husband was being awful. I remember that. And man, they just really turned on her. Jessie, though, immediately gets defensive.
It was that was never. Jen, if you go to Chippendales, they put your hands on their ass.
Having hot drinks during this conversation was a choice. Something that comes up as well during this is Jessie saying Jen lied about being related to Ben Affleck. And when I heard that, I was like, why is Jessie bringing that up? I think she's still mad that she got uninvited to the baby blessing. That's what it is. Jessie, the baby has been blessed. Move on.
They're harping on anything to put me down when it feels like straight up bullying.
Jen gets frustrated and leaves. What did she say?
Catch me outside, how about that?
Yeah, catch her outside. But now she finally decides to go on the offensive. And she starts to tell the group more about Vanderpump Villa at Whitney's after baby shower.
Did she kiss them? One of them kissed her on the cheek.
We also hear about another anonymous message Macy gets on her Sinner Sunday confessional. This time, it's about Demi's husband, Brett, cheating on her. But as much as Jen is trying to push back, Jen tells the cameras that she really is struggling mentally. So Mom Talk goes to Scottsdale, minus Jen. And after talking crap about her, all of them find out that Jen is pregnant from Whitney.
Band-Aid baby, yay.
Who has actually been trying to support Jen. Such a 180 from season 1. With Jen in a bad place mentally, the show, like they should, moves the focus away from Jen, finally. Instead, they shift the focus onto something I wish they focused on from the very beginning of this season. there's new information that comes out during another Truth Box. Truth Box! The first thing being that Jesse, not Demi, was in a tabloid for supposedly kissing Marciano at a club. I didn't see that tabloid, so this was new information to me. Marciano was the guy that was flirting with Demi at Vanderpump Villa. Jesse says it was just a random rumor, and this is going to come up again. Just going to mention that here. And then Demi reads this truth.
Jesse, are you worried Demi was willing to take a bigger contract even if it meant you potentially being dropped from the show?
So I've thrown a lot at you so far. So just a quick reminder, Demi and Jesse are best friends. And this Truth Box is talking about their contract negotiations that they had for season 2. So it happened after season 1 was over, but before season 2 started. Hope that made sense. So during those financial negotiations between seasons, Demi said she was willing to kick Jesse off the show for more money for herself. Jesse says, no, I'm not gonna walk. So Demi gets on another phone call with Mom Talk and talks shit about Jesse, her supposed best friend.
Demi's like, yeah, Jesse at this point, like, let's push her to the side.
So Demi's reason for doing this, she says, is because Jesse has a huge hair empire and didn't think that the money mattered to her. But this is supposed to be her best friend. She's willing to kick her off the show? Like, come on. We also see Macy use this Truth Box to confront Whitney. She's still mad about Whitney not coming to her baby mama business launch party that we saw. And Whitney says that she did not regret not going because apparently the word best friend in this group means absolutely nothing.
Because I'm saying if I didn't make the mistake, I wouldn't have known how to make it right.
It also is so odd that most of these issues causing this drama could be quickly resolved by people just genuinely apologizing to the other person. And then with Michaela and Whitney not getting along, it's getting tiring too.
This is what women supporting women looks like, because it certainly doesn't feel like it.
We all don't know, Miranda. Like, we're tired. We're tired, ladies. I also keep forgetting Miranda is here. Mom Talk is now Mom Toxic. I was very relieved, though, when they decided to stop filming Jen. That is the best decision they could have made. She steps away to focus on her mental health and her baby. But ding, 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 that means the villain spot now has an opening. And while a lot of these women deserve the villain title at this point, Demi backstabbing her best friend for money makes her currently the best candidate.
It's not a shock that I was a fan favorite.
Was she, though? Anyone who's watched the show a few times, was she on your radar until that first Truth Box? She was not for me. I confused her with Jesse until season 2. And some of you still might be confusing all these women together. I don't blame you. It's okay. So all of the girls now seem to know to be cautious of Demi.
Just seeing that Demi did that to Jesse, who's supposed to be her closest friend, definitely makes me feel like I can't fully trust her.
Who's to say that she isn't trying to do that to the rest of them? She needs the trust of Mom Talk back. And she seems to try to make an attempt at this by talking about her infertility struggles. I'd say this kind of works in the moment. Taylor says that everybody knows everything about her life, so having a little bit of an in on Demi's life makes her a little more human to everyone. She also talks to Brett on camera about the cheating rumors that were started by Macy's anonymous confessional. But this scene feels weird because they go off camera and forget they don't have their mics on, which, I mean, sure. And it seems like there's this distrust going on between them, or at least the producers want us to think that. I think they're going to reference this somehow in season 3 because the scene just kind of feels oddly placed. Demi acted like those cheating rumors about Brett were so dumb that they weren't worth any energy. But then when she's talking to Brett, she seems unsure. So there's this question I had kind of circulating through season 2 up until this point, where I kept thinking, why go after Jen? Like, what was the reason to go after her so hard like they did? And then it kind of makes sense to me here, because this is when we find out that Demi went after Jen legally to stop her from talking about Vanderpump Villa. Or at least she threatened to stop her legally.
Apparently Demi is going out of her way to get a cease and desist.
They don't go into detail though. They just say she was threatened with a cease and desist. There's no other information given. We just get a little bit of this Vanderpump Villa information sprinkled through the season, and then things just calm down for Thanksgiving. But then Taylor walks the red carpet at the CMAs and is a presenter. She has a great time and posts the night on Instagram. But after posting about her glamorous night, she realizes the next day that no one commented on her post about it.
To hear nothing, like, what the f***?
So what does she do? She crashes out online. And Mom Talk gets a lot of backlash for not showing her support on this post. The Mom Talk girls say that they all reached out to her personally, but just happened to not see that particular post. So once Taylor talks to Macy and Michaela, she realizes that her followers basically bullied the other Mom Talk members online. So even though she's still salty about them not commenting on the post, she does end up apologizing. And although the other members of Mom Talk get frustrated with Taylor, they also mostly just get over it when Taylor does officially apologize to the group. All of the Mom Talk women except one. Demi does not let this go and refuses to accept the apology. So, while on a brand trip with Layla, Taylor starts to hear what Demi has been saying about her. And this is because Layla tells Taylor that she thinks Demi is taking things too far.
So I definitely think she took it to heart when Taylor was asked to do the CMAs and she wasn't.
No one trusts Demi anymore, like at all, especially when it has anything to do with money.
She texted me and she asked me how much I was making on this brand deal.
So she decides to show Taylor what Demi was saying in the group chat that doesn't have Taylor in it. Demi says things like Taylor is dumber than a rock and that she's crazy. So Taylor wants to confront Demi about it. And Layla says she will back her up.
I'm gonna stand up for you.
I want to hear you say that.
I will.
Right when Layla said that, I was like, no, she won't. So Layla and Taylor return from the trip and they show up at a Sinners and Saints party to confront Demi. Well, Taylor shows up ready to confront Demi.
When you have a
Well, you guys think I'm dumber than a block, so maybe that just...
Layla, like I thought she would, just sits there, silently hoping no one realizes that she exposed the group chat. So, in the heat of the moment, Taylor decides to expose something that Demi had said to her about Jessie.
She said, do not go to her, she's not good at hair.
As a rebuttal, Demi then brings up Taylor's arrest.
Go get help. Stop hurting people. Take accountability for what you're doing.
At this point, if you've only watched the show, you have no idea what's going on with these people outside of the show. There were no details about Taylor's charges on season 1. I shared at the beginning of my video reports of what she was charged with, and then those charges were dropped. But now here is Demi bringing those charges up.
I was called like a child abuser, the worst mom in the world. Not true, because I didn't hurt my daughter. And so for Demi to still bring that up, this could be life-ruining.
But I think they edited this because she doesn't really say anything. She hints at it though. And then Taylor gets upset. And the group does not like that Demi brought this up at all. Jessie is again left feeling betrayed by her supposed best friend. Demi, I think, now gets the Regina George title of the group, which to me means that she is the biggest bitch out of all of them. She's just screwing over Jessie over and over again. Demi continues to offend the group on their trip to New Orleans. This trip does not include Taylor or Jen. Reminder, Jen is taking a break from Mom Talk and all of the filming. But Jen does end up sending a video apologizing to the Mom Talk members.
For me, as someone that's like dealt with like mental health issues, I feel like it's hard because I feel like that trumps everything in my opinion.
Most of Mom Talk says that they understand that Jen is going through a tough time and accepts her apology. Everyone, again, except me.
I know that I totally buy it.
And you can just like see how irritated they look with Demi. They also think it's odd that she's now buddying up with Whitney when she couldn't stand her not too long ago. And Taylor has finally hit her limit with Demi and is not on the trip because of that.
Like, shut up.
She's like a bully.
She is literally a bully.
So we can't forget that Demi opened up about her fertility struggles, but apparently Layla has forgotten because she just conveniently comes back from the store one morning with a pack of pregnancy tests and wants to play pregnancy roulette because that makes sense. I think it's a TikTok trend during this time. The night before, they went out in New Orleans and she smoked that. I don't know if I can say this. This lady pulled a joint out of her vagina. If I had to censor those words or use the swig cup when I edit this, I think you know what I mean. Was she still feeling the effects this morning of the vajoint? Layla hasn't had a lot of thoughts on her own yet. She does seem to flip-flop between who she doesn't like based on what the group says. So are we supposed to believe that this is her first independent idea? Anytime someone comes out with a truth box or a pack of pregnancy tests, I think we can assume it was a production idea. These women don't drink. I guess you gotta shake things up somehow. Because Why do this when Demi just opened up to the group about her infertility? Does production hate Demi too? It's just weird and mean. So of course, they all take a test. And in an earlier episode, it's revealed that Macy did do IVF with her husband and is pregnant. So that explains one of the positives. And the second positive ends up being Michaela. So Demi is of course upset. But this moment of vulnerability from Demi does not last. When her and Jesse have a moment to talk about what Taylor said about Jesse not being good at hair, Jesse does not think that Demi takes accountability and doesn't believe her apology.
And it does make me wonder if Demi is the cancer in this group.
So now there's really no one on Demi's side anymore, except Whitney. And at dinner, when they wrap up their New Orleans trip, Demi says that she's done with Taylor and her toxic behavior.
As of now, I'm kind of like, if Taylor's in, I'm out.
Oh, and Miranda's here. She's just like a background NPC at this point. So the group doesn't agree with Demi. Well, Whitney does.
Some opportunities we have are sometimes because of her, you know?
Oh, look at you, Layla, speaking up. That's a step up from her just making this face during conflict.
If this were a normal business, she'd be gone.
I'm gonna walk if Taylor's here isn't fair to the rest of us.
And when Taylor hears about this, it becomes Demi versus Taylor. At Demi's Christmas party, even though everyone pretty much says they don't trust Demi anymore, all of Mom Talk attends, except Taylor and Jen. So Taylor sends her mom to the party with a gift for Demi. Taylor's mom confronts Demi about trying to get rid of Taylor, thinking she wants to be the new Taylor.
She needs to go to therapy, and she needs to go be a f***ing mom.
The rest of Mom Talk does not agree with how Demi handled talking to Taylor's mom, except Whitney. And after the most convenient Santa entrances to ever occur on television, Taylor's mom leaves. And Demi opens up her gift. This was Taylor's reminder to the group that if Demi can backstab her best friend, she can do it to any of them. And what's really wild about this is as I was making this video, I saw this TikTok of Cozy Earth, that brand of like really expensive sheets. They have Whitney and Demi do a lie detector. And in one of the TikToks, Demi admits what Taylor said.
Do you think Jesse is good at color and extensions? No.
So if there was any question as to if Taylor just like made that up, she didn't. Whether this lie detector guy is real or not, I'm leaning towards not real. He looks very familiar. Demi said it herself. Even after this, Jesse says she needs a break from Demi. Not only is she done with Demi, she doesn't want to be around Demi at all. So Mom Talk meets up and decides the fate of its members. And the results are, they decide not to decide on Miranda yet because they need more time. Miranda doesn't seem stoked about rejoining anymore anyway. They do decide to bring Whitney back in.
Confetti.
And when it comes down to the fate of Demi and Taylor in Mom Talk, Taylor says she knows Demi told the group if Taylor's in, that she's out. No one defends Demi though, and the group starts to wonder why she really turned on Jen.
I feel like I need to reach out to Marciano to finally get to the truth of what actually happened in Italy.
I mean, that cease and desist was very suspicious.
How can you guys be friends with some? She's disgusting. She's a disgusting human being.
And when no one backs her up, Demi leaves.
I'm done with Mom Talk. I can't do it anymore. Okay, bye guys.
And we wrap up season 2 with Demi seemingly done with Mom Talk. And of course, a cliffhanger. We can't end a Secret Life of Mormon Wives season without a cliffhanger. Layla decides to confront the source of the whole Vanderpump Villa rumors, Marciano. So we think that we will get answers on if Demi was really flirty with Marciano or not. But instead we find out something else. He first says that he did try to kiss Demi, but he kind of just like talks in circles about it. But then he says that he did kiss Jesse.
Made out with her.
Oh, more than that.
Apparently that rumor that Jesse was kissing Marciano in public, he says is true, but he does have this weird body language, like looking at the ground though. He says that they continued to try to meet up after Vanderpump Villa and still talk now.
No, it's a full-blown affair.
So then Layla asks if they have slept together, and we end season 2 with that cliffhanger. But we do also get a reunion episode that has some answers. Well, sort of. They talk about a lot during this reunion, and I don't want your head to explode, so I'm just going to talk about what is important to know for season 3 from this reunion. So you feel fully prepared and not overwhelmed, because the reunion was long and a lot of information. I promise we're almost done with this insanity. When the reunion starts, you notice that the cast is all there. minus Demi. She is supposedly at Disney with her family and couldn't make it. So I mean, it could have just been a scheduling conflict. But of course, the cast seems to think she didn't come intentionally. Jen is there backstage. The cast, of course, gets their sodas ready and sits down with Nick Viall to talk about the season. They jump right into where we left off with that cliffhanger, showing the entire cast the conversation Layla had with Marciano. Michaela explains that when they got to Vanderpump Villa, that everyone thought that they were swinging Mormons. And I mean, if you don't watch the show, I could see with the headlines when the show started why they would think that. Michaela at one point even told me to watch how she was acting because of how she could come off while filming. And they even got in a fight over it at one point, supposedly. Jessie then brings out texts she has between Marciano and Demi, and they do not look good.
It's no different than swallowing.
The guys say that Brett knows about this, but didn't want to hear about any of it either, which is very vague. The host at one point notices that Jessie is no longer wearing her wedding ring, but we don't get a direct answer on what Jessie did and did not do. She says that we will find out everything on season 3.
A lot more to the story, and it's not what you think it is.
So there was a comment that Jen made when she was fighting with Jessie, saying that Jessie was a swinger and didn't want to swing with them. Apparently Jessie has a past. And I'm curious how all of this connects together and plays out with her and Jordan, especially since they really wanted us to see that she didn't have a ring on her finger. I feel like she even held her hand up weird so we would see it. They talk about everything. The swinging scandal, Whitney being voted back into Mom Talk, different friendship issues. Whitney in general gets called out a lot for her behavior by the host.
I'm very good at taking accountability, so I don't know if you're equal in that.
Well, I don't think I'm bad at taking accountability either.
Taylor and Dakota also get called out for hanging out together, even though Taylor says they will never be back together again. So I guess we know going into season 3 that we will continue to watch them fight. Yippee! We do hear from Demi in a separate interview. Even though she wasn't at the reunion, she got asked questions about her behavior on season 2, and basically she doubles down and doesn't have any regrets. Which means to me that she will be coming in full steam on season 3. Then we get to Jen. She talks about her struggles. We also see her reaction to when the host asked Demi how she felt about Jen's apology video.
That goes, yeah, you were dealing with a lot. We all are going through a lot. And it doesn't discredit you lying about people and discrediting their reputation.
This upsets Jen, so she gets her receipts out. I love when they bring receipts on reunions. So these receipts show that Demi called Jen, telling her what to say and not say when asked about Vanderpump Villa.
I think something as simple as that's Demi. Demi confided in me, and I regret not, respecting that. And I don't feel comfortable talking about it any further.
We know that Jen was threatened with a cease and desist. I thought she actually received one, but it sounds like she didn't actually get one. The reunion touches on a lot of other subjects that were cut out in season 2. Most of it is stuff about mental health, ironically. They cut a lot of that out. They really put the drama front and center and let the mental health struggles fade to the background besides Jen's. So I'm not going to include a lot of that in this video because it makes me think that they probably won't talk about those subjects much in season 3. The drama is apparently the fan favorite here, not you, Demi. We also find out that both Jen and Whitney will be on Dancing with the Stars. And then after the reunion, it's announced that Taylor will be the next Bachelorette. And we do also get a teaser of season 3. And we notice that Jen looks to be back in Mom Talk, and Layla does confront Jessie about Marciano claiming that they had an affair. But there's a twist. Marciano claims that he was influenced by someone. And it looks like the new villains will be both Whitney and Demi. Oh, 2 villains.
I'm gonna start my own Mom Talk. I'm sorry.
The drama looks like it's going to be a full force again on season 3. Woo! That was long. If you made it to the very end of this video, gold star, you are awesome. I've never made a video this long before, so I really appreciate the support. And now you can officially say you are prepared for season 3. No, I could not cover every single detail. But now I think you can say that you are a Mormon Wives pro. When you are out in the world now and someone brings up the show, you can say, will Mom Talk survive this? While you sip your prebiotic soda, knowing full well that yes, these women stand on business and they aren't going anywhere. Mom Toxic will continue to survive. I was gonna sip on my LaCroix to wrap this up, but It's warm now. My plan now is to cover the new seasons, and I am going to attempt to cover each episode after season 3 is released. So please look out for that. Make sure to follow me on Instagram if you haven't already, and also this is my QR code to my Snapchat. Make sure to follow my public profile. I will be posting often on there. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye!